Good morning and welcome from chilly and sunny California. Out visiting some family, so not my usual stomping ground, but still wanted to get a video out because I got some things that I find interesting that I was watching and listening to. So, I know a lot of retirees have been talking about moving out of the country to less expensive places where they can retire. I'm seeing a lot of people going to Thailand, Malaysia, South America, and it's interesting, and I get the concept, but here's the things that think about in these inflationary times. If you have a bunch of people flocking to an area because it's less expensive and their money goes further, what do you think is going to happen in that area? As you have the people with more money come in who are used to things being more expensive than the areas that they're moving to, well, odds are they're going to start seeing inflation there. The other thing is, if they haven't done their due diligence, I don't even know that that's accurate, if they haven't paid attention to the currency risk, because, you know, the dollar tends to move in 10, 20-year timelines. It's not quick and dramatic, it's slow and painful. So we've had an exceptional bull run in the dollar for the past, I don't know, 10 or 15 years. It seems like it's run its course. Maybe it hasn't. But if it starts to reverse, which it already has, but if it continues to reverse and the dollar weakens, not only have you moved to a place that's going to have inflation, but your dollar's not going to go as far as it used to. And honestly, I think part of the reason that's going on is because of this. It's got to put a lot of pressure on the local communities to have a bunch of wealthy Americans move into a not so wealthy area. It's going to drive up their housing prices, their food prices, so on and so forth. And if the currency continues to stay strong, that just causes more and more problems as more people move in. The toughest thing about that is the governments in these areas are probably super excited to have new money come in and help drive the economy. But they're not going to understand the long-term effects of having money come in from other countries, or especially if people are working remotely, where they're making money outside of the country. I mean, think about it logically. If I have a job with a company that allows me to work anywhere, and I make money based on American expenses, but I move out of the country to, say, Thailand, where it's less expensive, and they've got these beautiful beaches, but I now make American income. If there's enough of us, eventually that area is going to adjust to the American income and not the where it is currently. And then all the YouTube videos is just free advertising now. I love them too, but it's going to speed up the process because as everybody's watching these videos of places I can retire on my Social Security and whatever else and live a much better life, well, the faster that people move there, the faster those areas are going to adjust to that income coming in and push the costs up. I mean, simple supply and demand is what's going to drive these things. And if you have too many people chasing too few goods, well, that's what causes inflation. So if you have a bunch of Americans or Chinese or Russian moving to these areas that are less expensive, they're just going to catch up. And with all the videos helping to show people where they are, which I love you guys for, so I don't mean it the wrong way, it's going to happen quicker than it used to. Just my theory. I mean, especially the remote work. I mean, if I work for Facebook or Microsoft or Intel or some of these tech companies that are allowing for remote work, and I can move to somewhere that somebody's been talking about, like, I don't know, and you know, well, there are a bunch of places I've seen in South America too. You know, Mexico City looks super cool. Yeah. What do you think will happen to the real estate and the cost of a lunch or anything else? If you just have people with more money that are more comfortable spending more than what the local population does because they make more working somewhere else, but they can live there because they can work from a computer, well, naturally that's just going to drive prices up because the companies are going to realize they can charge more for whatever it is that they sell. Just like I said, simple supply and demand. So no, mixed feelings on the videos because they show me all these wonderful places. But I really think over the next 10, 20 years, you're going to see things balance out where they're not such a bargain. You know, maybe they'll be a little bit less expensive in 3, 4, 5 years, but go 10 years out, I'm guessing it's not going to be much different than anywhere else. Might create some opportunity in the short term to get some properties if a person's in position and the local laws are favorable to foreigners owning land and rental properties. Um, I'm looking into it myself because I think that that's the way we're going to go. Um, I don't know. I guess we'll see. I say all the time, though, I'm not a financial planner, I'm not a lawyer, and I'm not an accountant. So reach out to your financial planner for any financial decisions you make. I'm just a guy sharing my experiences and my thoughts, but I'm nobody, you know. So don't follow my direction. I just see an interesting thing going on, and I think it's going to take time. And the currencies are going to help exacerbate it too. It, it's hard for me to see the dollar just getting stronger and stronger and stronger. It doesn't tend to do that. You know, it tends to fluctuate in a range, but again, that range generally takes 10 to 20 years in each direction. We seem to have gotten pretty far in the being strong direction. I kind of wonder if we'll reverse and go the other way and see a weak dollar. And if you've decided to move to wherever, you know, if you move to Pattaya, Thailand, which looks super cool to me, and the dollar continues to weaken, well, you're going to get less Thai baht per dollar as that happens. And what I've noticed, so the dollar's been weakening against the currencies I watch, which is, you know, the euro, the yen, the Canadian dollar, basically the things that trade at the Mercantile Exchange in Chicago, because that's where I used to work. And when I watched a couple guys who were showing how they were annoyed when they went to the currency exchange and weren't getting as many euro or Australian dollars. Australian dollars seem pretty common than they used to. Well, if the dollar is weakening against the Australian dollar, which it has recently, and the Australian dollar is weakening against the Thai baht, well, I can figure out the Thai baht must be moving pretty quickly against the US dollar. You know, it just seems like natural logic. You know, if the Aussie is weakening against the Thai baht and the dollar's weakening at the Aussie, well, I would assume the Thai baht is strengthening against the dollar way fast. Also, keep in mind, a lot of these countries don't have the social help and things in place that we have here. So if you run into trouble, you just run into trouble. There isn't the help like there is in the US. So if you're moving to a foreign country, with the hopes to retire, and you're calculating your budget and don't have a really large safe haven, whatever that is in your budget, um, support if things go wrong. I would just be real careful because I think things will change over time. If you're going there with $3,000 a month thinking, well, I'm only going to need 2,500 because rent is X and food is Y and transportation is Z because I've seen all these videos and I can manage like that. If rents and food and transportation go up at the same time that the currency risk and the dollar gets weaker, you could find yourself in a position where your 3,000 a month may not be even close to what you need to survive, and they don't have the social systems in place to be able to help. You know, I know it's getting expensive here too. Nobody likes the inflation, which is why the Fed's been raising rates to try to stop it as quickly as possible. The interesting thing is, as they raise rates, it strengthens the dollar, which causes that issue to get worse. So they're really pinned into a corner on many levels. That's why I say, I love real estate and I talk about real estate a lot, but I just don't know what the Fed ends up doing because there's so many different facets they have to take into account, not just the real estate market, which I know they're trying to slow down. At the same time, if the rents stay within check, whether the house prices go up or not isn't going to matter so much. They've got a lot of bigger issues to keep an eye on at the same time. I know the world seems crazy right now and it's scary, and everybody's looking for something to ease that stress. My best advice is try to take a deep breath, relax, and ride through it. And know that life is life, and we all go through the path we go through. Prices of things will go up and down, and it'll all even out in the end. But I just don't know that running to another country is the best solution. And what I fear is running there on too tight a budget, not taking into account all the factors, including the currency fluctuations, that can happen in another country. I mean, really, who wants to be in Thailand or Vietnam or Cambodia or Mexico City and run out of money and be in a really tough situation where there's no help and nothing to be found, and you're not even one of their citizens, you're a foreigner living in their country. It could be really scary and it could be really bad. I just think I don't know how their systems work. I don't know what happens if you go to a hospital as a foreigner and you don't have any money left. So just be real careful in those decisions, please.